Because let me tell you, nothing quite scrambles your brain like finding smoke curling out of your chimney, a Toyota you don't recognize in your driveway, and a stranger swinging your door wide open like you're the pizza delivery guy, not the homeowner. That was me Saturday morning up in the mountains, supposed to check on my parents' old cabin, the one I inherited 3 years back, and suddenly I'm the one getting side-eyed for trespassing. The guy standing in my doorway. Silver hair, HOA logo on his shirt, and a look like he's been waiting for this moment all week. "Can I help you?" he says, calm as you please. "This is private property." Like my family didn't teach me how to ski right on that slope, like my mother didn't cook chicken soup in that kitchen every winter. No, he's got the keys now, and apparently the power to declare I don't belong. He introduces himself as the HOA president, spouting off about some abandoned property protocol section 7.4 or whatever, claims they took over the place, my place. Tells me my stuff is boxed away, some of it anyway, for emergency preservation. Says it all like a script. I'm telling you, he's got the lingo rehearsed, legal official, and just barely on the right side of menacing. And the real kicker, I never got any notice, no calls, no certified mail, just 23 emails over the last 2 years. I'd half glanced at, figured they were just the usual HOA busywork. Grass too long, fence needs paint. But now, as I'm standing there with this guy blocking my own front door, it's clear those emails were step one in a paper trail he'd been building while I was buried in deadlines and city life. Inside, his wife's moving around the kitchen like she picked out the wallpaper. The family photos are gone, furniture rearranged, every trace of us erased. I ask for documentation. He says submit a formal request. HOA hours are 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. Like he's doing me a favor. Like I'm the one out of line. See, this isn't some squatter's nonsense. This is orchestrated laminated name tags over my mailbox. A realtor's lockbox for spare keys, Eagle Ridge Estates property management stuck right on it. There's a system here, a machine. And this guy, Donald Mendoza, he's done this before, I can feel it. Now, I'm a data analyst by trade, and if there's one thing I know, it's that every machine leaves a pattern. Every con leaves a seam if you look close enough. So instead of exploding, calling the cops, storming inside, I go home, open a spreadsheet, and start digging. It's not about anger. Anger makes mistakes. It's about proof. Back in Denver, I combed through those emails. The first was 18 months ago violation notice, then another about unapproved modifications, another about missed assessment fees, each one signed by Mendoza. But the bylaw he quoted, the one about emergency preservation, actually demands certified mail, a 60-day window to fix things, a formal board hearing, a recorded vote. 4 steps. He skipped all of them. Skipped. I checked my USPS informed delivery. No certified letters from Eagle Ridge, not a one. Then the property taxes 16 months back. Someone changed the mailing address from my Denver apartment to the cabin itself, probably. So any notices got lost in the woods, not my inbox. Payments have been made not by me, and my own auto pay failed after that address changed. Someone's been establishing occupancy, paying utilities taxes, keeping the lights on, all to build a case if I came knocking. Colorado needs 18 years for adverse possession, but Mendoza doesn't need to win in court. He just needs enough paper to keep the sheriff guessing, enough bureaucracy to bury me if I push too fast. But here's the twist. I'm not just any absentee owner. I run data for a living. I check every property in Eagle Ridge. Out of 67, a dozen are like mine, owned by people who live somewhere else, don't visit much, don't check their mail often. 5 of those have serious violations on the books. That's not random. That's targeting. So I hunt for backup. Find Stephanie Patel, former HOA board member, pushed out after she tried to blow the whistle on missing money. She hands me a folder, years of minutes, notes, financials. $35,000 unaccounted for in the reserve fund fines and special assessments that never resulted in repairs. Other absentee owners, hit with emergency preservation claims, lockouts, and mysteriously all the right paperwork until you really look. Dates don't line up, votes backdated. In one case, a woman named Eleanor Vance lost her cabin the same way, and after a fight, her family just walked away. But Stephanie's warning is sharp. Donald's got people on the board, maybe in the county. If you go loud, he'll know before you're ready. So I stay patient. I find the critical detail, my road. That narrow dirt trail, it isn't HOA land. It's a private easement deeded to me. The only way to the cabin crosses property I control. No one gets in or out without my say-so. Enter Judith Watson, real estate attorney, HOA shark. The kind that writes her notes in all caps. She lays it out. I've got criminal trespass, potential fraud, civil claims out the wazoo, but if I want to win, I need to build the whole case airtight. So we keep quiet, gather evidence, install a gate with cameras, post signs, no trespassing property under surveillance. Mendoza tries to threaten me with fines, claims I'm violating community standards. But every letter, every threat, more evidence for my file. Finally, the camera catches Mendoza at the gate reading the sign, taking pictures, realizing for the first time he can't bluff his way around a steel lock and a property deed. The next morning, Judith and I go to the sheriff's office, file the complaint, and ride up the mountain with a deputy. This time, I walk up my own front door, the law beside me. Ortiz, the deputy, is patient, asks Mendoza for a deed, a lease, anything that gives him a right to occupy my house. Mendoza can't produce a thing, not a single piece of paper. Ortiz arrests him for trespassing on the spot. Word travels fast within days. The HOA board is out. Homeowners are calling for audits, and neighbors are suddenly remembering all the mysterious fines and quiet backroom deals. The emergency meeting is angry, loud, cathartic. Donald and his wife try to defend themselves, but it collapses. The board votes he's out. Audits begin. Law enforcement steps in, and I get my house back. But here's the real lesson. The one that hits late after the anger settles and the dust clears. Power in a system like this only works when people stop paying attention. Donald didn't have to be a genius. He just needed a handful of absentee owners, a little authority, and a community that let the paperwork pile up. All it took to end him was someone who checked every piece, documented every pattern, and refused to get mad before getting methodical. Justice. It's slow, it's cold, and it almost never comes in the form you want. Donald takes a plea. 18 months probation, restitution, a formal apology posted on the HOA's site. His wife gets a misdemeanor, the missing money has to be repaid, and the board has to operate under real oversight for the first time in years. Do I wish he'd gone to prison? Sure. But watching him lose his position, his reputation, and every inch of fake authority he'd built up, watching him walk out of that meeting room, no one saying goodbye, maybe that's the real sentence. His name is public record now, and for a man who built his life around being the guy in charge, maybe that's worse than a cell. A year on the cabin is mine again. The gate still stands, not as a barrier, but a reminder. Patience and documentation win where anger just gets you arrested. My parents' photos are back on the wall. The board tried to get me to run for a seat. I turned them down. The only power I want is the power to keep people honest. So let me leave you with this, in case you ever end up facing down your own version of Donald Mendoza. Document everything. Don't shortcut the process. Don't let anger make the call. Because in the end, authority only means something when someone is willing to challenge it with the truth. Now let's open this up. Where do you draw the line between protecting your rights and abusing your power? Would you have handled it differently? Drop your thoughts below. Share your stories. Tell me where you think justice really sits. Because out here, sometimes it's just you, a dirt road, and the choices you make when nobody's watching.
Cảm ơn các bạn đã xem video.